Listen, it doesn't matter what type of business you have, honestly. I just happen to have a notary business, but whatever business you have or whatever business you plan on starting, the number one thing you need to think about is to stay focused. To rewind back time, when I first started this business, I was all over the place. I was a freelancer, calling businesses, offering free websites. Check this out. Yeah, hello?
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon. Our company actually created a website for your business, and I wanted to
No,
know.
thank you.
Okay, not interested.
Good.
Yes, hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
My name is Edgy, and our company actually created a website for the business.
Okay, I'm all set on that. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Yes, good afternoon, Mark. Yeah, my name is Edgy, and our company actually created a website for your business. I wanted to know if I can send it to you so you could look at it. All right. He just hung up on me right in my face.
The electric.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hi.
My name is Edgy. Our company actually created a website for your business, and I was just asking if I can send you a link so you could look at it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, awesome. What is your email?
At gmail.com.
Okay, is this your personal phone number?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I will follow up with you tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Man, I was just all over the place. I was doing Uber Eats, editing videos, filming videos, editing websites for people. I was looking for a way, a gateway, answer. With everything I was doing, I was making very little. When I stumbled across the notary business, I was all in, learning how to do loan signing. I was all in the industry. My goal was to only make $2,000 a month. That was my goal. That was my goal for the first year. I was like, I just want to make $2,000 a month. Surprisingly, once I became a notary, I made that amount in less than a month. I think it took me like 3 weeks or 1 month to do it around that time frame. But as soon as I started making money, I got distracted once again. Around that time, I was doing YouTube full time. My YouTube channel was starting to go viral a little bit, right? But I had to make a decision. I had to make a choice. It's either I'm gonna focus on my notary business and grow it, or am I gonna just stick to still do YouTube, right? Because I was making some money on YouTube. I was making $800 a month with only 4,000 subscribers. Well, actually, around that time, I probably had 3,500 subscribers, but I was making $800 a month, not bad. And if I kept making more YouTube videos, that amount was gonna increase, and then I could have probably sold a course and do all that stuff. But I just made a decision to go all out on my notary business instead. And as soon as I dropped everything, I started making more money as a notary. And all of a sudden, I started making $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month. It started growing, Once again, as soon as my income as a notary started growing, I got distracted. Once again, I invested in a commercial cleaning business. That program cost me $6,000. I can't believe it. I'm kind of ashamed saying this. And there's nothing wrong with it, but at the same time, it's like I should have invested more in the notary industry, right? I could have took that money and invested on a notary course, I don't think there's any notary course that costs $6,000. But yeah, that program, it was a program that was gonna teach me how I could make $10,000 a month. Why does every program online always tell you how to make $10,000 a month, right? Like, what's up with the whole $10,000 a month thing? But anyways, the program was good. I'm not gonna complain. It wasn't a scam. They actually did video calls every week. Actually, almost every day, like 5 times a week. It was a good program. But I realized that it was a lot of work, And every time I invest in a course, I keep making the same mistakes, and I'm realizing that all of it is a lot of work. That's why I'm always going back to the focus thing. That's why it's so critical on staying focused, because It's like you could find yourself spending money that you don't have to spend. Me not being focused cost me a lot of money, and I spent money in other courses as well, right? It took me time to realize that. Stay vigilant, stay focused. The same way I'm telling you that is because I had to go through it. The internet, the algorithm, everybody's trying to get your attention. Remember, your attention is currency, right? I'm fighting for your attention. Everybody from the internet is telling you, do this, do that. If you do this, you're gonna make money. If you sell this, you're gonna make money. Everybody's telling you this. But you have to make the decision to know what you want to do based on your personality, what you like, and just stick to one thing. Every business is a lot of work, right? To start making money, and it doesn't matter what business it is. Like almost every business is the same. All of it, you have to learn the skill set. You have to do marketing. It's the same thing over and over. You might sell a product or provide a different service. And that's why I'm telling you, your focus is going to be key. With me making full-time income with my notary business, because that's how I'm supporting myself, I'm supporting my family with the money I'm making. But even with that, I'm still distracted. I'm still finding myself investing in a bunch of different courses that have nothing to do with notary. You know, I spent money on commercial cleaning programs, on video businesses, even though I'm a videographer myself, but I spent money on how to start a video business, how to grow on Instagram, like name it, you know what I mean? And a lot of those courses I spent money on, they're not bad courses, they're pretty good programs. But every time I spend money on it and I look at the course material, I show up to the meetings, I realize that all of it is a lot of work. Like there's no shortcut. So if all of it is a lot of work, I'm just like, you know what, let me just stick to what's working for me. And what's working for me is the notary business. So that's my message to you. Just stick to what's working for you. It might not be notary. For you, it might be hair. Right? You might be good at doing hair. It doesn't matter what business you choose, you're going to have to do marketing. You have to do sales, right? What else? You have to pay attention to your profit margin, because there's a lot of sexy businesses out there where, let's just say, a restaurant. Having a restaurant is a sexy business, right? Because if you have a restaurant, the person could actually go in the restaurant, they open the door, they could see the chairs, they could see the name of the business, they could see their employees. You know, having a restaurant is really sexy, but the profit margin sucks, all right? It has really bad profit margin. If you're making $50,000 on your restaurant business, you're probably only keeping $10,000 or $5,000 of that, if you're lucky, because you have so much expenses. You have to pay people to clean, you have to pay for a chef. Like the amount of things you have to pay for when you have a restaurant business is ridiculous, but it looks sexy. And me myself, me being a notary, it's not sexy. When I tell somebody I have a notary business, they don't get it. They're like, what? That's all you do? You're just a notary? Like, is this like a little side hustle? Every time I'm notarizing for people online, they always they always feel like it's a side gig, because I don't have a big office, you know what I mean? I work from home. People have this idea of, if you have a business, you need to have a big office, you need to have a lot of employees. And there's nothing wrong with having these things, all right? But at the end of the day, you don't need these things to make money. You could make a good amount of money with no employees, with not having an office, right? When it comes to picking a business, it's really important to pay attention to the profit margin. Just because somebody is saying that their business is making $1 million, it doesn't mean the $1 million is going in their pockets. After they pay off everything, they might only be taking home 100,000 or 200,000. Like a lot of businesses are like that, where their profit margin is only 10%, 5%, 2%. And that is very common in the business world. And by the way, guys, make sure you go to notarybusiness.org, where you're going to get weekly emails on how you could make money on your notary business. All right, so everything that I'm learning, and I'm still learning, by the way, I'm still learning, so everything that I'm learning, I'm going to be sending it to the emails. Overall, if you didn't hear anything I said, the type of business you get into don't really matter. Okay, that's what I've learned from being in business for 5 years and investing in all of these programs. Because at the end of the day, it's about how you're gonna get your customer, right? Because before I choose a business, that's the first thing I think about. Are you gonna get your customers through Google, Facebook? Are you gonna cold call? Are you gonna be knocking on their door? Like, you have to know beforehand. You gotta imagine, okay, the business that I'm starting, think about, is this business, is it gonna be easy for me to get customers or clients? And number two, does this business have good profit margin? Because there's a lot of sexy businesses out there where the profit margin is so low. Because remember, you gotta pay taxes, you gotta pay your employees. If you have a lease, if you have a building, you gotta pay for that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pay for insurance, you gotta pay for your licenses. So that's another thing you need to take into account when you're starting a business. Pay attention to your expenses. My name is Edgy, and I'm out.